It looks like we're live. Wow, back on the humid airways of southeastern Pennsylvania. Hey, you're usually one that gets things rolling, so what do you got to say?
Yeah, I just want to welcome everybody back to a very special playoff episode and hopefully mini-series of Cuzzo and the Commish, officially back for a fifth season after a little bit of a hiatus there, but life gets in the way sometimes. It's good to be back with the Commish. I'm here in the heart of Delaware County, media itself. The Philly specials are playing on the speakers throughout town here. It's a pretty good time, even though it's raining.
Yeah. I'm not quite in Delaware County, in Montgomery County. Right, I'm still on the blue route though. I feel like if you're still on the blue route, you can have a claim to be
I can basically hear the blue route from here anyway. So
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm beyond excited to get back on the airways here. It's been way too long since we've been on the show. I feel like we did maybe a little early, like last season or 2 years ago, and then we're just like, this is just, life gets in the way. But we're back for the playoffs, and that's really when people are getting the the heartbreaks and the triumphs.
Absolutely, and a great playoffs it should be. A lot happened this past week to really set the seeding and get all the last spots filled out. But it's a good looking bracket, and it's shaping up to be a very fun 3 weeks here.
Yeah, we got an interesting bracket, but we'll real quickly just run through some of the games that got us to this point here. We got to start off with a Clancy Bowl 1 rematch. It was a true play-in game to get into the playoffs, and it was known that the winner was in, the loser was out. And these guys have been jawing back and forth all year. It goes back over a decade. But Chris took this one 155 to 127. Let's give a shout out to a former Conshohocken Quokkas, Jared Goff, leading the way with 23.52 points. Jalen Waddle finally showing up for the year with 20.9 after a bit of a slow start. He's been a lot better lately, and Chris was able to get the last laugh in this rivalry.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this is a pretty good game. It's unfortunate for Snyder, maybe fortunate for the rest of us. But DeAndre Swift and really both of his running backs, DeAndre and Bucky Irving, really let him down here. Just not what you want to see. A combined 7.8 points out of your running backs. And, he lost by less than 20. This game was a toss-up. But it's just a solid performance from the Neanderthals, and that's why they're finding themselves back in the playoffs as the third seed in the football conference here.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Snyder, he was complaining about the Bucky Irving injury at one point. Like, if you get, if you score 127 points, like, you don't really have any place to complain. Chris went out. If you tell me before any week that I'll get 155, I'll typically like my chances of winning. So I think Snyder just has to admit, like, he got beat by the better team, and that's just the way the news goes.
Absolutely. And, as a guy who beat me this year, you can't really sneeze at the roster. But where he really lacked this year, I think, was in the death pieces. I mean, look at the bench here. I know he had 4 guys on bye week, but still, there's really not much going on. There were no real options. And this team was a little, I think that they had a pretty good start. He started off like 5-3, 6-3 or something.
Yeah.
But, hard to keep it together in the back half of the year when you lack depth like that.
I can't see you, by the way.
Oh yeah, I'm on the fantasy app. So.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I will say he was better than we expected. He was the Ridley Bowl, recipient last year, and then he went in and basically said that he was going to run it back with Drake London and Garrett Wilson and those early picks. And his credit, it worked a lot better. But I have to say, I'm pretty relieved that he offered me a trade right before the deadline. He wanted Ladd McConkey for TJ Hawkinson. I'm like, dude, you're asking for too much. When you have 3 tight ends, you start 2 of them. And like, I know that, you don't need him. So, sorry, Snyder, your early season or your early years dominance has kind of cooled off. So I wonder when we'll see you back in the big dance, but final score there, 155.42 to 127.57.
Yeah, I just want to add like a quick sidebar to that before we move on. I feel like it's been a bit of a down year for tight ends in general, especially on the fantasy side. Like a lot of the big names are not really producing like they used to, if that makes sense. Like,
absolutely.
I picked up Hunter Henry midway through the year, like probably 5 weeks ago now, and oftentimes he's been outperforming the bigger name tight ends like Kelsey, who I've continued to start, who really only gave me 3 solid weeks in a row. But it's been a down year overall. I mean, even when Goddard's healthy on the Eagles, I know we all watch that every week. they're not really getting them the ball much, and I think that's like a trend around the league.
Yeah, I mean, unless you have Brock Bowers or George Kittle, you're pretty much screwed at tight end. You're just throwing a Hail Mary. So that's why I wanted one of Snyder's guys, and then when he wanted too much for it, I'm like, no, I'm just gonna, hope that Mark Andrews has a touchdown or two. Like that's all you can do.
Right. And so final score there is the Neanderthals sneaking into the playoffs, 155.42. The Georgetown Gorillas, 127.57.
All right, let's move on to the other game that was, I would say, the most significant in terms of playoff race, which was Hellman and Jason, where, the winner knew that they had a chance to make it. They would need Carter to beat me to, prevent them from getting in. So for all intents and purposes, kind of knew it was a playing game. But Hellman came to play, and Zach Charbonnet absolutely came to play. 38.3 points. Justin Jefferson, don't get me wrong, has had a very good season. But, I would say up until this week, you look at his last 4 games before this, 16-4, 14-9. Like, that's not what you're, expecting from a first-round pick. So to be able to kind of put him on the squad's back right there is why this team's going to the playoffs and Jason's not.
Hey, big-time players show up in big-time games, and that's what Justin Jefferson was able to do for the Copperheads this past week. As you said, a few down weeks there, but he's still the best wide receiver in the league, if we're being honest. And his time was going to come. And let's see if he can keep that going into the playoffs. I know the Copperheads will probably be a bit of a dog this upcoming week, but stranger things have happened.
Yeah, and when you look at Jason's team, he was 2-8. He fought all the way back to get to 5-8. Finally bought back in. Said in our group chat that he was the betting favorite to win that last playoff spot. Never do that. But the reality is that he drafted, I believe it was 3 out of his first 4 picks for receivers. A.J. Brown, Marvin Harrison Jr., DJ Metcalf. They all had 8 points. Exactly. Like, when you're drafting 3 receivers high and they all get you 8, I mean, at the end of the day, like that's what's going to leave you on the couch and not trying to win your 4th conference championship.
That is unfortunate, but we've seen it time and time again. When you invest too much in the one position group, it can really come back to bite you in the ass, especially – the hole that Jason dug himself into early on is really what set him back here. It's hard to come back from what he was 2-8. You said,
yeah, and you have to be perfect. Like I would say, once if you'll feel good. I mean, Hellman made the playoffs at 7-7, right? Like if you have 7 losses, at that point you kind of have to be like, I have to just win out, and maybe 6-8. But the reality is 7-7 was good enough, and especially impressive when Jaden Daniels, Hellman's quarterback, was on a bye. Jonathan Taylor, who we just traded for. Ironically, Chris and Hellman both had must-win games, and both, the guys that they swapped for each other both didn't play, but they both still won. So, it'll be interesting now that he gets Taylor back next week to go alongside Jaden Daniels. But, man, poor Jason, right? He's going to go just be bald and sad and pet his cats.
Yeah, it's kind of par for the course, We've seen this flame out from the Marminator time and time again, and honestly, it's not that much of a surprise, but I'm sure that he hopes his luck turns around sometime soon.
Yeah, he only has himself to blame. That's all I have to say. But
you can always only blame yourself.
Yep.
Right? When you point a finger at somebody, you're pointing 4 right back at yourself.
All right, final score there: 154.78 for Hellman, 129.29 to Jason. Now this game between myself and Carter, funny enough, actually did come down to like Monday night, but it was kind of torture for Carter, where like I think I went into the night like up maybe 11. I had already clinched the bye. I had T. Higgins and he had Brandon Cooks. T. Higgins only scored 4.3. So like if Brandon Cooks had a game of like, I don't know, like 16 points, like Carter would be in. Like that was a winnable game. He probably didn't think it going into Monday night, but if he caught like one more touchdown, Hellman would have been out.
Which is even crazy to think about because the Zoo is a team that was, pretty quiet all year as well. And, I mean, you look down the score sheet from this past week. It's a lot of, not bad, but like also not great numbers here, right? And you make the point that if Brandon Cooks catches one more touchdown, he's probably in the playoffs here. However, you just need more out of your core guys. You got 3 wide receivers, and none of them score over. Well, I guess he had 16.5, but 13 and 10, that's not great. Chuba Hubbard with a pretty good game against the Eagles last week, but Aaron Jones not doing too much for him. That's not going to push the needle. Pretty good performance for the defensive player, though. What we say about defensive players on the show.
Defense wins Clancy Bowls.
Absolutely.
But no, I mean, Carter, he lost when your first 2-round picks missed almost all the year. Like, you're kind of fucked. Like McCaffrey, Nico Collins, and then Rashee Rice was playing well and got hurt. So just not Carter's year. He almost fought through, but I think we have I was going to say the 3 best teams in the conference in the playoffs, but Jacob came in, 10th with that roster. But 3 deserving teams.
Absolutely. Definitely 3 deserving teams. And I think on every team that made the playoffs this year, there were no flukes.
Yeah, last thing I'll add from this matchup here is kind of bizarre. My 2 starting running backs, Kyren and James Conner, both had exactly 23.7, and Cooper Kupp and Darnell Mooney had exactly 20.2. Kind of weird, a little strange. But the boys are just like in sync right now going into the playoffs,
Yeah, I can say a lot about my own team, but I'm sure it will get there.
Oh, absolutely. You are up next here. So final of my game was 145.51 to 137.37. Second bye week in my franchise history. The last time I made it was 2017. I won my only career playoff game against Chris before losing to Ari. I'm sure we'll get into all that. All right, last game we will talk about here. Of course, we got actually, we'll get to Ari's in a Ari, do you want me to talk about that one? I think we can skip that.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm driving home from a happy hour right now. Look, the GM sets the tone, and we did not, we're looking past this one. We're looking past this one.
Honestly. Your nameplate says Jewish GM. All right.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. We'll have you back on in a second. I just want to see. We'll skim your game and then come back. Have you guys back?
Yeah,
on.
not much going on there.
Yeah.
But Jake just proven that he should have been in the playoffs. Unfortunate for him.
Yeah, unfortunate. All right.
It comes down to the W's and L's, not the points for and not the points against.
All right, real quick, we'll talk about this blowout of Burt. Burt kind of knew he was going to lose. He didn't even start a running back 1 because Breece Hall was out. Not that it would have mattered. Elias, this is your 7th win, I believe 7th win in a row. You had 5 players score over 20. You got to be feeling really confident heading into the playoffs here.
Well, I'll tell you what, Brendan, it comes down to the changes that we made in the offseason. We really shook up our front office and our coaching staff, and the players really responded to that. Burrow is a guy who I've had who I had the pleasure of having on my team now for a couple of years, and despite some early, I don't want to say lackluster, but pedestrian performances, he was really able to tie it together for the back half of the year. I've been really happy with the production that he's had, and even when I need to play Baker, I have a backup that I'm confident in. But I want to talk about committing to the running attack, which is what we've done this year. Bijan's been great. Josh Jacobs has been great. But the guy who's really, I think, propelled this team over the top is Chase Brown from the Cincinnati Bengals. He has just had a phenomenal year for the Bureau. He's really come to home here in media, and there's not enough good things I can say about this guy. He's got me feeling nicey. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
This is the guy that just goes out there and grinds. He'll do everything that you want him to do. He's got a brother on the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know if anybody, a little drop right there, but he's a natural fit on this team, and he's been proving it this whole year.
Absolutely. And I think we can agree so far the team MVP has been none other than Zach Bond.
Absolutely. Zach the cue ball Bond, I think should be up for free agent acquisition of the year. I know I got a lot of heat for that after drafting so many defensive players, but I think that everybody knows now that I like to build in the trenches. I like to build on my defense. It's given me success in the past, and when I saw a guy out there in week 2 who put in a hell of a performance week 1, I wanted to jump on the opportunity. I had capital to spend, and we went out and made a move. It's really worked out for us. I mean, let's look through Zach Bond's game log this year. I mean, besides a couple clunkers, we're getting 20s, we're getting 16s out of this guy. What more can you ask for from a defensive player? That's why he's the best linebacker.
Yeah, you put 450 on him. That's funny because the second year in a row where after week 1, Owen put 450 on Puka, and it worked out great. So maybe the key to winning is just make a $450 budget move after the first week.
Yeah, owners and GMs get together in South Philly sometimes over the offseason and talk shop, and I'm not gonna give all the credit to another person for my team's success, but it certainly helps out to get another set of eyes on your squad.
Yeah. All right, well, tough scene for Burt. Brees Hall, 0. Jaden Reed, 0. Devin Singletary, 0.8. If you get a total of 0.8 from your starting 2 running backs, you're not going to win many football games, but lucky for him, it didn't matter. Derrick Henry was on a bye. He was going to lose to that performance anyway. Unfortunately, Burt could not join us on the show because he, I assume, is busy with his awesome new job with the UFC, so congrats to Burt.
Absolutely.
Into Vegas. Instead, we will welcome on our good friend, owner of the North Philly Neanderthals, one Christopher DiRienzi, who right now we can't see or hear, but I assume he will hop on in a sec.
I think he's there somewhere.
He's there in spirit. Give him a sec.
I can't fucking believe how big this sandwich is. This is outrageous.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can't see you.
Oh, well, I'm in Aldi. I had to run to Aldi real quick. But, hello.
What's up?
What are you getting from Aldi?
I'm getting toilet paper.
Uh-oh.
It happens, all right?
You ever tried Dude Wipes before?
Yeah, I have. Nolan, my brother, is a big fan of them.
I love them.
So what are we talking about?
Now,
my awesome, shift into the playoffs.
yeah, we want to hear your perspective on what it felt like to beat Justin Snyder in this game.
I mean, what else could you ask for? You know, it was truly a magical moment for me. I hate that kid. No, I'm kidding. He's all right. But, I hate his
team on the gridiron.
So it was nice to get that win. I was really concerned I wasn't going to, especially when Pickens didn't play. But, we made it work. We got some good games from Ray McLeod out of nowhere. That was huge. And then what else? I mean, you just gotta love Saquon's so consistent, Kamara's so consistent. I'd love to see him get in the end zone, but
Adam Thielen continues to turn back the clock.
Adam hooked on a Thielen.
Well, yeah, that might turn out to be the pickup of the century if he keeps playing the way he is. I will say
you could have picked up Zach Bond.
Well, all right, IDP, Mr. 8 IDPs on my team throughout the year. You know what I mean?
What's Clancy Bowls? As Jacob just said,
Yes.
Shout out Jacob for leaving a comment. He said, if I played a fucking active IDP against Jason, I'd be in the playoff. This is true. He didn't know IDP was actually working, and that's why he's not here, thankfully.
That's hilarious.
All right, Chris, how are we feeling going into this matchup? Do we have an update on George Pickens' health at all?
And it sounds like he's not going to play. So kind of a shame. I'm a little bit in the hole. I feel like kind of an idiot for trading Jonathan Taylor at this point. But I guess, hindsight's always 20/20. I feel like, the upside was there with Pickens, but now I really wish I had Jonathan Taylor for this upcoming matchup, especially considering how my waiver wire additions have played. But, it is what it is. We'll hopefully get another good game from either Tillman or if I decide to start with McLeod again.
So word around the league in different circles is that George Pickens is making a business decision this week, not wanting to go to Guantanamo Bay. Is that true?
I have no comment on that.
I don't blame him. All right, Chris, do we have I know we have 2 quarterbacks that have both been playing well. Where do you lean on, Purdy or Jared Goff?
It's tough. Tough call. I think right now I'm leaning towards Purdy just because I think he's been a little bit more consistent with touchdown passes all year, and he runs a little bit more. But I don't know. That offense on the Lions, they're pretty good. And obviously it worked out well for me last week playing Goff, although it was kind of a toss-up. So we'll see. I mean, right now I'm feeling Purdy, but I don't know. He's let me down before, so.
All right. How overall as a team, how are we feeling going into this match? It looks like injuries are definitely going to be, depending on who can play and who can not, a big storyline. But overall, what's the confidence level?
I'm pretty confident. I think Holbert's team has been sucking balls recently. So really excited about that. I'm pretty sure he kicked my ass earlier. But, we're ready to turn back the time, show him who's boss. Who's been in this league longer. And I feel pretty confident.
Yeah, I can double check that. Let's see. It looks like he won this year, but it was by like 15 or so. So it wasn't like a blowout, but.
Well, I can't let that happen again.
Either way, it's revenge time.
Exactly. And, I really think I got him.
If Pickens plays, that'll be great, but I doubt he will. So if we just get a good game from what's his name, from Tillman, I think we'll be fine.
Are you concerned about Feldman's health? Or he's listed as question at the moment.
A little bit. I mean, he's missed the last couple of games with a concussion, so never like to see that. But
That's nothing.
I guess it's not like anything to do structurally with his body. It's just his head. So I guess not just his head. Sorry, low blow to Justin Snyder. Obviously, it does have an effect.
Justin Snyder, CTE.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping he plays. If he doesn't, we're going Ray Ray. We're going Ray Ray again. He did well for me last week, so hopefully he can keep it up.
All right, Ray Ray.
All right, Chris. What would a second Clancy Bowl mean to your franchise and the legacy in this league?
It would mean everything. It would be so much sweeter than the first one because it's the second one. You know what I mean? Why have one thing? You can have two.
I actually don't know.
It's like,
no, I think that I can actually speak to that a little bit.
Zero.
As a former champion in this league, and as someone that won it in a COVID year, I feel like a lot of different pundits and a lot of different people around the league kind of put an asterisk next to the Bureau's only championship, and that's something that we want to get away from. We want to assert dominance in this league, even as one of the newer teams. Really make sure that people know that we've arrived and we're not going anywhere. And I think I totally understand what you're saying. As two former champions, we can definitely talk about this. It's you like the second one is really what solidifies you in there. A lot of teams
will be better.
Win one championship. Anybody can win one.
You know what will be better than the second championship?
What's that?
A third championship.
Oh, man.
Well,
and then maybe a fourth.
25 here.
Baby steps. Now, it's funny that if Hellman or myself were to win, I believe that would be our 9th champion. I think 9 out of the 12 people will have still not won, because if one of us wins, that would just leave Jason, Jacob, and the other one of us, which is pretty good parity if that happens.
I mean, yeah, that would be
9 and 12.
That would definitely be pretty cool.
Yeah, the race to
it shows you how competitive this league is and how competitive this league has been.
Yep.
Well, you know what? We should all be ashamed of ourselves that we let Owen Salisbury win the league.
He went 14-2 last year and 2-12.
Yeah, but he's so bad. How did he go? How did he have the greatest team ever? Whatever. It bothers me.
Is that the best regular season performance that we've had in this league?
I think so. And I have to
champion.
Say,
Jacob went 12-1, but he lost to 6-8 Jason in the playoffs.
Well, you better be careful there, Elias. You're due for one of those performances. You're not careful.
I hear you saying this stuff right now.
Just saying.
Listen, brother. I'm not too concerned about the Bureau right now. We're clicking.
Well, exactly. That's when you should be most concerned.
All right, Chris, any last messages for our audience here going into your matchup?
Look, all I got to say is I know the people want the Neanderthals to win. All right, we are the people's team. We have grit. We have determination. And we never say never. So I intend to prove the people right and give them what they want. So that's all I got to say about that.
All right. Hope to have you on next week. Enjoy your shopping and good luck this weekend.
Thank you. See you guys.
Take care.
All right. Next up, we bring them both on at the same time. We got owner, general manager, president, team doctor of the Columbus Copperheads, Justin Hellman, alongside Jewish general manager, 2-time champ, Ari Feldman. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
I heard Hellman's also the team pilot for the Copperheads, just as of this year, right?
That's a good point. A team pilot is fair. Ari is the team accountant for the Collegeville Cashflow Kings.
Oh yeah,
Ari,
brother.
I can kind of see. Are you outside?
I literally just got home.
Oh, perfect timing for the boys. Wow.
You know how it goes.
Yep. All right, well, gentlemen, thank you for joining. We'll talk. We'll start with Hellman first because he's coming in on the action. Hellman, at what point did you realize that this playoff dream was going to come true?
I'm always skeptical. I kind of put in my head that it wouldn't happen that way. But, if it did happen, I'd be happily surprised. But heading into the 4:00 games, I was 50-50 on my matchup, and then I was actually a little bit less confident on your matchup. I thought Carter would somehow pull off the upset. But yeah, once Charbonnet had a couple touchdowns, I was up by a lot. I was pretty certain on my matchups, and it was just over to your matchup. And the ESPN projections had you still winning by like 5 to 10 or something like that, but I wasn't confident at all because some of your players were projected to get absurd amounts, and they weren't really doing anything, especially on the Cardinals, because they didn't really do a whole lot offensively besides the first drive until like late third quarter or something like that. But then Kyler Murray had the show pass to James Conner, and I felt a lot more confident after that.
That was when I think I texted who did I text? I might have texted my roommate Dig. When that shovel pass happened, I'm like, that's like 12 points. Like that was huge. And
Yeah, that was pretty clutch for me. And then yeah, I think someone on your team Kyler Murray must have had like another touchdown, or oh no, Cooper Kupp had that touchdown. That was pretty clutch. He was like smothered two in the end zone. He still caught it.
Yep. All right. So Ari, you've been kind of in autopilot for a little bit overall, just because of how long you've had the division wrapped up. But you still had to go out there and play last week. So how is the team feeling now? And also, it says you're muted.
Yeah, sorry, boys. I just had to take a piss.
No, you're good.
But I would say that, yes, the team has definitely been on autopilot. We've been trying to make the Deebo Samuel story work. Hasn't worked. And, we're getting settled in. We've had injuries. Haven't really had the whole crew together for a while. But going into the playoffs, we're at full strength. We figured out the depth chart. Jawan has overtaken Deebo's job. It's finished. It's finished. Deebo's finished. He's washed. He's fat. He's slow.
You should have tried
where the
to trade him
ball
while
is.
you had the chance.
What?
You should have tried to trade him while you had the chance.
Yeah, if only. If only.
No, but overall, I think the team, last week, like, you had a fine week. Jacob just exploded. So it's
it's actually kind of interesting. I think I've put up 130 like almost every single week. Like I've been hovering right around 130 just about every week. So if you can put up like 140 or more, you have a pretty good chance of beating my team.
But you won't stink it up.
Yeah. We're super consistent. Consistent. The only thing is, now that we have everybody back, Tyreek, he's done fucking. He's here for the rest of the season. He's had all his kids. And Tua's back. So I think he's ready for the stretch run. So he's got like a lingering wrist injury, but apparently they decided that Jonnu Smith isn't the number one target anymore in Miami. So we're looking good.
I mean, you've had quite a few losses in a row in quick succession coming into the playoffs. Are you not worried at all about the team's mindset going into this? I know you're excited to have the whole squad back together.
Look, Jake blew the brakes off of me last week. Just is what it is. I started Deebo Samuel out of principle. It had to be done. It's over now. I would have had 28 more points because Juwan Jennings is sitting on the bench with all of the 49ers offense.
You should just cut Deebo at this point.
No, we can't cut him. But he's definitely going to ride the bench and think about what he's done and what he hasn't done. But I would also just like to point out from the previous conversation that Adam Thielen and Ray McLeod did make their way through Collegeville this season and learn how to play football. And they both have ended up on the Neanderthals roster. We're really happy to see that they're contributing somewhere else where the wide receiver depth is needed.
You can get them some rings.
Yeah.
Jacob's on waivers as a trap. So like Drew or Owen, some meathead like Chris will pick him up. That's funny. Well, hey, without George Pickens, he might. I mean,
he might, dude.
But, all right, so Hellman, from your perspective, what is your confidence level going in now that you're getting Jaden back, you're getting Jonathan Taylor back? Does it kind of depend like on if Charbonnet plays for where your confidence level's at?
Yeah, to an extent. I mean, on paper, I'm not gonna lie, it's not looking good. I mean, Ari has the two guys tomorrow on Thursday Night Football against the Rams, which any game against the Rams is gonna be like 40-something to 40-something. I don't know, just every matchup he has looks like pretty darn good on paper. So, yeah, it's not looking great on paper, but, crazier things have happened. If Charbonnet plays, that would help out a lot.
Well, yeah, not just Charbonnet playing, but if Kenneth Walker doesn't play, I don't really have an RB2 option.
Yeah, is it going to be Mostert? Ray Davis didn't get a carry last week. Like, you can't,
Yeah, no, I picked up Jaleel McLaughlin as like the Hail Mary play
if Kenneth Walker doesn't come in there because he's been dominating the Denver backfield. But I mean, it's a Hail Mary.
So I have some interesting statistics here. I was bored while subbing because like for a while I had a job where I actually like did work, and now that I'm subbing again, I don't. So I found out that you guys, this is your 22nd ever matchup between each other, longtime foes. Hellman leads 12-9. In 2016, you guys played in the playoffs. It was the year where Hellman made the Clancy and I think lost to Carter, and I think it was like a blowout. I'm sorry, it's 2015. 140-67, Hellman won.
Whoa.
I don't recall that happening in the playoffs. It must have happened during the regular season.
The year was 2015. 2015, the year where you lost to Carter in the finals. You destroyed Ari in the playoffs. I'll figure out what round it was real quick.
No, that wasn't the playoffs. Since I beat actually, yeah, it might have been round 1.
I'm looking up right now. I know it was the playoffs. I looked it up earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, in round 1, you beat him 140-67. Then you beat Jason 152-80. And then for whatever reason, it's not sure right now. It's all the scores of that final week just say 0-0. But I think Carter beat you handily.
Yeah, because Odell Beckham got suspended that week because he headbutted Josh Norman. Then Antonio Brown decided not to do anything that next week, and then
you got some divas on that team to control.
Yeah, Doug Baldwin did all right. Todd Gurley was nah.
Yep, you're right. You had you had some throwback names on this team. Gary Barnage, wow. Bilal Powell. I'm looking at it right now, but
Bilal Powell.
All right, we'll ask each of you guys this question. Unless, Cuzzo, do you have a question?
No, I'm just enjoying the ride right now.
No, a crazier thing to happen with me and Ari's matchup history is the next 2 years, Ari won it all. His teams during the regular season were in general were amazing, and I just and my teams weren't that good, and I somehow like beat him in the regular season like every time those 2 years.
Oh yeah, no, there was a stretch from late 2013 until 2018. Hellman, you won 9 out of 10 against him.
Yeah, no, like my team was terrible. Like we'd lose every game, and we'd randomly play Ari, who'd win every game, and somehow pull out a W.
Ari, you described it. You said he's just a thorn in your side.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
dude, Hellman always has really like well-rounded teams that will just always be in it. Like, when's the last time Hellman has had a team that you look at and you're like, damn, this shit is terrible.
I mean, Hellman, have you ever made the Ridley?
No, but like I've had like teams like finish like 10th place, like 9th place overall. So
just avoid
like when I don't do well, it's like
you limit
most of the time. It's like I'm like bad enough to not make the playoffs, but good enough to avoid last place. And then when I am good enough, it's like I barely like get in. Like I'm always like in the middle, like 40%.
Makes sense. All right, we'll ask both you guys this question. Ari, what would a third Clancy Bowl, race to 3, mean to you?
Oh, dude, it would be awesome. Specifically because it would mean a lot. Specifically because it'd be the first one since I graduated. I think it was since the first one since I graduated college, at least, if not high school.
Yeah, because when you beat me, we were freshmen in college.
Okay, yeah, so it'd be the first one since college. I mean, that's a big gap. Mm-hmm. And the last few years, I've been bottom feeding. So you got to return to the top. Not only that, but it would also be very vindicating because I was one of the people who voted against the 3 wide receiver rule, and I'm taking full advantage of it. You know, we don't run the rock right now in Collegeville, first time ever.
Yeah,
that's what's going to lose you That's what's going to lose you a playoff game here. You have to develop the run to get to the pass. Well known.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only way that I can lose right now is if Kenneth Walker doesn't play. Because I need at least a steady scoreline out of him, but it's kind of weird. It's like this year my team has been carried by my quarterback and my tight end, which is like usually like 2 really useless positions.
So it kind of show that you can win in a variety of different ways.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
exactly. Yeah.
I was gonna say, what would a title before you depart to Japan mean to you to win one in the States?
I mostly want it to happen, not necessarily for myself, but just for how funny it would be that I would take the Clancy with me to Japan. And, like, it would be like really hard for you guys to get it back. I think that'd be hilarious.
I swear to God, if you won this year and I won next, I would fly to Japan to get it.
I think we should do a Japan draft.
Dude,
I'm saying,
Japan draft, or if Bert wins, Vegas draft.
I don't want to sound like an Ian Terry and like enforce something that costs a lot of money on y'all just because I can. So
No, you could just fly us over. That would.
I would also like to think
Does
that
anyone in the league hate sushi? Like, what is the opposition?
Owen probably. Owen hates anything like that is.
They do chicken tenders in Japan. I'm sure.
All right, good. All I have to say is I would like to think that if money permitting, I can visit Hellman at some point while he's there.
yeah,
Right.
no. I was like talking to a dude here that was he works in IT, he's like a civilian, but he was in the Navy and he was stationed in Japan for a couple of years. And he says like everywhere you have to go, it's like show your phone with like a picture of what you want, like for like a language barrier. So I'm like imagining like Owen showing his phone, like showing like chicken tenders.
It's like when
Like, that's what I want.
it's
Are
like
you
when
gonna learn Japanese?
I don't know about that.
like when Ruxin and Taco have the free penis wine, they're trying to like point at the menu. Like this, like, do you have this?
Dude, do you think people in Japan have ever seen a human being that looks like Owen? He probably gets stared at the whole time.
Like Owen.
The guys I play pickup basketball with say I'll be like the starting center on the pickup team when I'm over there.
I think John Harris playing in Japan right now, or he's in Spain. I think he might be in Japan. Actually,
I don't know.
that'd be cool.
Chilling.
Hellman, would it mean a lot to you to be able to win a Clancy Bowl before Jason?
That doesn't really matter. Jason's like, it's not like that big of a rivalry. We're just like whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you get to bring the first Clancy to College Avenue. How about that?
That's cool.
I think he's bringing it to Tokyo, not to College Avenue.
Well, he's not going to Tokyo tomorrow. You know.
Yeah, but
That would be the farthest. What is the farthest from home that Clancy's been? It's been Miami, right?
Yeah, continental United States.
It must have been, yeah.
Did you fly with it?
No. I don't think I ever had it in Miami. I think I must have given it back because Carter would have had it, right?
Yeah, but you would have won after you beat me our freshman year of college.
Yeah, but I
It
think
was probably just at your home. Like,
yeah, it was at my house. I don't think I took it with me.
I don't think, and Carter wasn't in college yet. It was
Well,
in,
so theoretically, the farthest it would have been Miami, but in actuality, probably
Yeah.
not.
I would say probably Drew and like Maryland, maybe.
I feel like State College is further than that, or did Drew have it at McDaniel?
Yeah, I guess when Chris had it at State College, that was probably the furthest.
Dang, Clancy hasn't been very cultured so far, so maybe I'll change that. If
I'll
I do
get him out
win,
this year, don't worry.
if I do win, I have to mail it back, or I have to give it back to one of y'all. Like, would you like trust me, like putting it, like, with mailing it back and like it not getting damaged or anything?
I mean, if only somebody worked for UPS in the.
that is a good point.
Maybe a UPS can hire me to fly it back one time.
If you
How about
back,
I come over and then you fly us both back?
oh my god, if you fly the Clancy back, that would be all timer. Wow. All right,
Get
gentlemen.
some seat on my flight over. I think I fly like some like military like coach plane or something like that. So
All right. Any last words? We'll start with you, Ari. Any last thoughts going into the game? What's the confidence level overall?
I think the confidence level is pretty high. I think we're back and we're healthy. We have the full lineup that we want. We have the matchups that there are no matchups that worry me. It's literally just that Q next to Kenneth Walker's name. But it's always fun playing Hellman. He always puts up. We always have good battles. We almost made a pretty impactful trade. I was thinking on the trade that Hellman sent me for I think 2 or 3 days, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. But looking back, it actually would have been a pretty good trade for me. But yeah, it's always top class with Hellman. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Hellman. As for you,
yeah, I feel like I'm kind of playing with house money because no one really expects anything of me. So I'm just going to go out there, give it my all, and see what happens. Also, you're talking about Ari like being on autopilot for a lot of the season. Don't ever let yourself be on autopilot, and metaphorically or literally. When I was during training, my partner is this like super like creepy kid. He has like a lot of pilots, they have like mustaches. So this guy, like his looked like a 14-year-old's. It was terrible. I could never look at this guy. And he asked me if I'm gonna do like some portion of my like sortie on autopilot, and I told him autopilots are pussies. So don't do autopilot.
Good to know. We're locked and loaded heading into the playoffs. All right. Well, I will be seeing one of you guys next week in my first ever Kosher Kush Conference Championship. If I'm not mistaken, I think in this format, I don't think any of us have made it. Correct?
Yeah.
You're talking about the other conference. Okay.
Not you. No, I mean, I don't think, because I'm pretty sure like Jason beat Jacob like one year, like Carter beat Jacob. I think Jason might have beat you at one point, Hellman, but it'll be my first trip there, so I'm excited for it. Wish you guys the best of luck, and we'll see one of you next week.
Looking forward.
Yep, I'll catch y'all hopefully with me receiving the trophy. See ya.
Adios. All right, Cuzzo, we'll wrap that one up. What an exciting week we got. We got Hellman versus Ari. We got Holbert versus Chris. And we got the Ridley Bowl matchup of Owen versus Drew. Now, obviously, we don't have to preview that. But what we can say is that they both have one Ridley Bowl finish. So somebody is going to be getting their second, which will tie, I believe, let's see, I have 4. Ari has 3, and everybody else has 1. So somebody will become third place in terms of Ridleys.
I don't think that I think that I won when I was in the Ridley.
Correct. You won the whole thing in 2020, then you almost went first to worst, but then you beat Chris.
Thank God. Yeah, I was looking at my my all-time league wins and losses the other day, and I believe I still have a losing record slightly because I went like 2-12 the second year.
We that was the pickled moonshine year, so you got lucky.
Oh yeah, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh my.
All right, brother. Well, it was great getting back on the humid airwaves of southeastern Pennsylvania. For anybody listening, that includes you. We're doing pizza night at my apartment Friday, so if you don't end up going to the Sixers game, feel free to come by. I believe Ari will be in attendance as well, so just let me know on that. But I think Wednesday's a pretty good day to do this again next week, and we got our own matchups coming up, so I hope you're ready.
Absolutely. I'll see you in the Clancy Bowl, my friend.
That's the goal. All right. Adios to all of our listeners, and we will see you next time.
We have never been more back.